Hello and welcome to yet another interesting time in Information Technology class. My name is Blaze Elagogo, and in today's lesson, we will be looking at the topic Information Transmission under the theme Basic Knowledge of Information Technology. What's information transmission? By the time we're done with this lesson, I'm sure you agree with me that all your life you've been transmitting information. By the end of the lesson, you are expected to do a few things. First, you should be able to define information transmission. Next, you should be able to list ancient methods of transmitting information. And finally, you should be able to list and explain modern methods and the tools of transmitting information. Every day, I'm sure you communicate with people by sending and receiving messages. We can send and receive messages in different formats. These formats include text, pictures, which are graphics. They could also include sound or audio, and then videos. The process of sending and receiving information is called information transmission. Information can be transmitted in different forms. Over time, there have been several classifications of these forms. Some forms of information transmission include verbal transmission, written transmission, and non-verbal transmission. In verbal transmission, we send information using oral language, meaning we talk, we think, we use our mouth to transmit information. In written transmission, we send information using written language. We use symbols, text, alphabets to send information. And then there is the non-verbal transmission. In this case, we are neither writing or speaking. We use other forms such as body language, facial expression, body postures. For instance, I'm sure you can interpret different things from the different facial expressions. Other forms of information transmission include visual transmission, audio transmission, and audiovisual transmission. When information is transmitted visually, the receiver sees them. You see them only. When information is transmitted orally, the receiver hears them only. In visual, you only see the information. In audio transmission, you only hear the information. And then for audiovisual transmission, the receiver both sees and hears. For example, a person watching a video hears the sound and then watches. A person listening to music only hears the music. And someone looking at a poster only sees the poster. So these are some forms of information transmission. Over time, different methods have been used to transmit information, and these methods are classified as ancient methods and modern methods. Each of these methods have specific tools that are used. Ancient methods of information transmission are the early methods used for transmitting information. Most of these methods are obsolete, meaning they are no longer in existence, while we still use some of them. Whereas the modern methods of information transmission are the ones we presently use, and they usually require the use of digital technologies. Now, let's proceed by looking at the different ancient methods of transmitting information. We have writing. Writing is a process of using alphabets, numbers, and other symbols and punctuations to communicate in a readable format. So you see, writing falls under visual format of information transmission. It is an ancient method of transmitting information, but it's still modern because we still write up till date. In earlier times, writing was done on scrolls, parchments, but today we use paper to write. And the next ancient method of transmitting information is speaking. Right from when we were born, we make attempts to speak. And up to date, we still talk, we still speak, we sing. So speaking is done with the mouth, and it's one of the oldest methods of transmitting information. The next ancient method of transmitting information is whistling. Just like speaking is also done with the mouth, where we make sounds. Each whistle holds a particular meaning that is understood by a certain group of people. For instance, hunters and farmers whistle a lot when they are on a mission. It's easy to whistle because it can be confused as any other natural sound in the environment made by birds or animals. So hunters use whistling to communicate amongst themselves. The next ancient method of transmitting information that we will be looking at is town crying. In earlier times, when the king has information for the community, he passes this information to a person called a town crier. The town crier then goes about the village announcing the information. He goes about the village passing the information. And to get the attention of the people, he first hits a gong so that they pay attention while he passes the information. The next ancient method of transmitting information we have on our list here is drum beating. Over time, drum beating have been used to pass information. Each beat has a particular meaning that is understood by a particular set of people. For example, there are beats to inform people about famine or danger. And the final ancient method of transmitting information that we will be looking at is the use of signs and drawings. Signs and drawings have also been used to communicate. A sign is interpreted based on a situation. For instance, in the time of war, the palm front is used to signify peace, and fire is also used to give danger warning. These are just some ancient methods of transmitting information. We will proceed in this lesson by looking at modern methods of transmitting information. It is important to note that one major difference between the ancient methods and the modern method is the use of technologies, digital technologies, as well as some analog technologies, as can be seen here. Modern methods can be used to transmit information of different forms as described earlier: visual, audiovisual, and audio. And to do this, specific tools are required. So some of these tools include the telephone. A telephone is a device that converts human voice to electrical signals, and these signals are sent to the other user on the other end of the telephone line. And so with a telephone, people can communicate in text format or in audio format. They can make voice calls, they can send text messages. Another tool that is used for modern transmission of information is the radio. Unlike the telephone, a radio is an electronic device that is used to receive audio broadcasts, in other words, audio messages. And so different people in different locations can receive the same audio broadcast from the same station. Another tool is the television. Unlike the radio, with the television, you can receive both video and audio broadcasts. We also have the mobile phone, which is a tool for modern information transmission. Mobile phones are portable electronic devices, and we can use them to send information of different media formats, such as audio, audiovisual, and visuals. They can also be connected to the internet. And also we have print. Print simply refers to printed documents. So books, magazines are all prints, and they contain information in text and graphics format. And then we have the computer. Computers are electronic devices that can be used to communicate in a wide range of information formats. They can be used to send audio, visuals, and audiovisuals. They can also be connected to the internet, and more communication can take place. It is important to note that information can be transmitted through electronic means and non-electronic means. Electronic means requires the user to access the information using electronic gadgets, such as a computer or a phone and other electronic gadgets, while non-electronic means does not require such gadgets. So with all I've said about ancient methods of transmitting information and modern methods of transmitting information, you can see that they fall into one of these two categories. Some use electronic means while others don't. For instance, the television is an electronic means, the radio is an electronic means, the mobile phone is an electronic means, while on the other hand, prints, fire signals, and face-to-face conversations are not electronic means. They are non-electronic. And with this, we've come to the end of the lesson. But before we leave, let's have a quick summary. First, we learned that the process of sending and receiving information from one person to another is referred to as information transmission. Secondly, we learned that over time, information has been transmitted using different methods and tools. Presently, some of these methods are ancient, while some are modern. We also learned that some ancient methods include speaking, drumming, use of fire signals, whistling, and writing, and so on. And finally, we learned that modern methods basically involve the use of technological devices such as radio, television, print, mobile phones, and so on. Before we leave, let's try out some exercises. Question 1. Which of the following is not a modern tool for information transmission? A. Fax. B. Radio. C. Fire. D. Television. The correct answer is C. That's because that's an ancient one. Let's try out one more. Ada is at home and needs to tell Jennifer that tomorrow is her birthday. What tool of information transmission would be the best for her to use? A. Newspaper. B. Phone. C. Television. D. Radio. The correct answer is the phone. With this, we've come to the end of this lesson. Here's a quick question. Of all the ancient methods of transmitting information, which do you still use? That's something to ponder about till meeting our next lesson. Bye.